Hello there. Hello, it's Jennifer Main, and I'm here today talking to you guys again about boundaries. So the focus for today is going to be looking at essentially how setting boundaries enables you to really connect with your purpose, with your calling, with your passion, and give yourself permission and some space to really live that. Um, for those of you who don't know, this is the third in kind of a little series of talks I've been doing here on Facebook with some people. And I'll just really briefly recap the last two. So if you haven't seen the other two, you'll have an idea of what they're about and decide if you want to have a look at them. So the first one was recorded on Sunday a few days ago, and in that one we were really looking at what it is to be able to say no in your life, to identify the things that you don't want, behaviors, dynamics, issues within your life that aren't healthy, that aren't making you happy, that haven't been really good for you, and how to say no to those aspects, and how to give yourself permission to say no, and how to say no and resolve things in your life without feeling guilty. Because a lot of people feel like they're being selfish or mean, or that they are doing something wrong by setting healthy boundaries in their life. So that was the first thing we really looked at. And the second one was really looking at what it is to choose the yeses in your life, and to make yourself a priority. Because again, so many people, based on their lives, their family, their careers, they get so used to putting everyone else first and having no time or energy or focus on themselves that they begin to suffer. So it was really learning how to recognize what you do love, what's a priority for you, whether that's, feeling good, whether that's meditation or exercise or time to read or, learning, allowing yourself to take workshops to study, things like that, whatever it was that was a priority for you, how to really make that possible for yourself and implement that within your daily life, and to schedule it in and to allow yourself to do that for yourself. So those are the first two that we did. So today we're going to kind of wrap this up and really look at what it is to allow yourself to apply those boundaries and how they can really enhance your life. So for me, the purpose in anything that I do is about, it all revolves around being in that soul energy, that essence of you, getting to the truth of who you are, and recognizing all the ways that you can actually live that and apply that in your daily life. Because I think what happens with so many people is they forget on some level why they're here, or they feel that they haven't connected with it, they haven't been able to realize it, they haven't given themselves permission to try new things, to develop skills, to do all of those things. So for me, it really, any kind of healing, any kind of learning is really about getting to the truth of you and understanding who you truly are so that you can do that. And it just happens that, applying boundaries is an amazing way to support that and to help you with that. So today, that's what we're going to really focus on, is looking at that. So just bringing all of that together. So we'll say about 40 minutes or so for today. I think the last two have extended to about an hour, depending on questions and things like that. So throughout this time, if you want to ask any questions, if there's anything you want to share, please feel free to add comments below. I'm happy to answer questions as we go through. And if you have things to share that you think are useful to other people, then yeah, absolutely, please join in. That will make it more fun for everybody. So for those of you who don't know, I'll just really very briefly tell you who I am and what I do, and then we'll dive in. So I'm Jennifer Main. I am a transformational guide. I'm one of the leading theta healing instructors in the UK. And so most of what I do is really looking at the subconscious. It's looking at how our beliefs and our actions and our emotions shape our world, and essentially what we can do to resolve that. Because what happens is that we get caught up in a lot of old programming, a lot of old emotions, a lot of old conditioning throughout our lives, things we inherit from family, from, things like that. And we start to live in that based off of that programming. So really, for me, again, it just goes back to an awareness. It's becoming aware of the motivation for why you're acting the way you do. And if it's not helpful, it's usually based in fear. And getting to what you're really meant to be learning from that, and being able to resolve that so that you can choose your actions, you can choose how you want to interact with people, how you want to live your life, but without getting caught up in just your old stuff. So we'll talk a little bit today about if there's anything getting in the way of that, anything getting in the way of you really tapping into your purpose and your potential, and how you can make some changes in order to apply that. So so hopefully you'll enjoy that. So basically, I did a talk about this a couple months ago. Excuse me, a little bit of talk on this, or a small section of the talk was on this topic. And I actually titled that talk, Choose Yourself and Serve the World. So we'll break that down and talk through that a little bit. But it was really funny because my friend who was organizing it, when they were putting together the materials to put on our website, instead of saying choose yourself and serve the world, it said choose yourself and save the world. And I very quickly had to go back to her and say, could you change that, please? Because I'm not interested in telling people how to serve the world or save the world. I would like to make a distinction between those two things. And we'll talk a little bit in a few minutes about identifying purpose and things like that. But what I find consistently with people is that anytime you're looking at your purpose, your divine timing, or your calling, or whatever terminology you want to use for that, anytime people are looking at that and kind of stepping into it and understanding it, so for each of us, our purpose or our calling is our own. It's going to be individual for everybody, and yours will be different from many other people. So it is unique to you. But whatever you do also includes other people. So if part of your purpose is to be an artist, you may be a painter who works by yourself, but there's going to be interaction because you're going to be sharing that with other people. And that artwork is going to be reaching the lives of hundreds or thousands or millions or however many people it's supposed to reach. So there is always a connection or an understanding that whatever you do is not just you. And actually, that's very cool. Because what that means is that for all of you who believe on some level that your purpose is going to take you away from other people, it's going to disconnect you from family or friends, you believe that it's so difficult and it's so hard and you have to do it all by yourself, those are just beliefs. Because actually living your purpose is going to connect you to your tribe. It's going to connect you to those people who really get you on a soul level, who really understand you, who are going to love you and honor you and celebrate you. So living your purpose is one of the best things that you can do for yourself and for the world around you. And I think a lot of people become really afraid of when they start to talk about, well, what's important to me, what's right for me, whether it's their purpose or not. Again, there's a lot of fear around, well, I don't want it to just be about me. I don't want to, again, be selfish or afraid of that. But again, if you are living your purpose, then you are being in alignment with yourself and true to yourself, but you are serving the world. You are serving other people in some way. So I want to talk a little bit about the difference between service and servitude, or serving others and being a servant, because there's a big difference in that. So I'm sure you guys all know people who believe that that they are supposed to be of service, that they're supposed to help others, and there are people that are meant to do that on big scale or small scale, and that is perfect and amazing. But they do it in a way that's very martyr-like, or that's very draining or painful or difficult for them. They do it out of obligation. I know the last talk or two we've talked about obligation. We've talked about feeling like you have to do things, that you're supposed to do things for whatever reason. And so you're making choices and you're doing things based on obligations. That's not service. And that's actually not a high vibration to work from. So if you really want to be of service to the world or of service to your community, the best thing you can do is tune in to that sense of purpose and calling and serve from a place of love and compassion. Serve from a place of honesty and truth. Because if you're serving people and you're resentful, you're not serving them. You're doing it out of obligation. And you're not doing anybody a favor there. So does that make sense? Does anybody want to comment or ask any questions about that? Again, please feel free to add anything in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer that or go through that a little bit more if you need that. But I find over and over again, people really getting caught up in this thing of, I know I'm supposed to help others. I know I'm here to heal others. I know I'm here to teach others. I know I'm here to share information with others. But again, people get so caught up in the fear around it that they miss it and they don't enjoy it. And they do it in a way that's not as high vibration. It's not as effective. It's not as loving and caring as it could be. So for those of you who have belief systems or believe that somehow you have to save the world, and you would be amazed at how many people believe on some level they have to save the world, honestly. It's incredible how many people believe they have to save the world on some level. So let me help you with that. You're not here to save the world. You're here to live your life, and you're here to contribute in the ways that you are choosing to contribute on bigger or smaller scales. But you're not the one that has to save it. So for those of you who are getting so caught up in, oh my God, if I don't do this, then the world's going to go to hell, or people are going to suffer, or these terrible things are going to happen to people, give yourself a break. Because actually that's kind of your ego, that's that fear talking, that's that fear motivating you to get out and live your purpose and do what you're actually here to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about identifying your purpose and not getting caught up in delaying it or denying it or trying to reject it because you're afraid of it in just a couple minutes. But it's really important that you get out of that mindset of I have to save the world and I have to do this, otherwise something bad is going to happen, because you're just hurting yourself. You're just living in fear and making things difficult for yourself. The reality is that if you can recognize that you are part of serving the world and that there are millions of other people doing the same thing, and that just takes that burden off. It allows you to relax into that. And to do your part, do the part that you came here to do, but without feeling that you're all alone or feeling that it's got to be difficult or painful or that you've got to suffer through it. So for those of you who believe that on some level that you have to save the world, that you have to suffer or sacrifice in order to save others, if you would like to release that now, just take a nice deep breath and allow that to release and resolve within your body now. And let's give you the highest understanding and perspective of service and what it is to serve from a place of love and compassion and grace. So if you'd like to receive that, you can allow that download to move into your cells as well. Taking a couple nice deep breaths. There's a few burdens being lifted there. What I talk to clients and students a lot about is the difference between motivation and inspiration. And it feels like there's a big part of that going on here. So for me, motivation is always something that's external, and it's always something that's fear-based. So someone else can motivate you to be more successful in your business because through competition, through competition, jealousy, things like that can motivate somebody to get off their butts and go do some work. Or you can be inspired to be amazing in your business. You can be inspired to learn and grow and develop and be the best that you can absolutely be, because that feels amazing to you, and that's an alignment with your truth and your integrity. And so there's a very different thing between those two things. So you can be motivated through fear, through anger, through jealousy, through sadness, through revenge. A lot of people are motivated through these really heavy energies. Whereas if you can be inspired to do something, if you can be inspired to act, that comes from within. That's a very heart-centered way of thinking and way of being. It's a very soul-centered way of being. So something you can do at any point when you're making decisions is tune into how you feel. And if it feels heavy and if it feels like you are reacting to somebody else, then I would rethink that. And along with the motivation and inspiration, there's a big difference between responding to something and reacting to something. So, I have a short story about that, where I was with a group of people a few years ago who, I'm used to being around people who are quite optimistic and upbeat, people who are ready to make changes in their lives, people who are ready to delve in and understand what's happening on deeper levels. And I was around a group of people who were not. And I found myself really struggling to stay centered and to really speak what was in my heart. And I found myself reacting to what they were saying in ways that I normally wouldn't do. And it took me a while to figure out that instead of responding to what they were saying or responding to their behaviors in a way that was authentic and aligned for me, I was just reacting to whatever it was they were saying. So if somebody makes you angry, let me rephrase that. If you get angry in a situation and you lash out at somebody, or you fight back, or you cause a drama or a conflict, that's a reaction. That's just you reacting to what they've said. It's you reacting to what they've done. You haven't taken the time to consider how you want to respond, how you feel, and why you feel that way. Whereas actually, if you can take that time to look at, well, what is it about this that made me angry? Was it that I wasn't listened to? Was it that somebody didn't respect me? What was it that was there? Then you can decide how you want to respond. You can decide how you want to speak to that person, how you want to have a resolution or come to, or whatever it is within that. So for me, again, it's that coming back to what's inside of me, what's actually going on, and having an awareness instead of simply just reacting and being motivated through negative things to react in a really negative way. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and how to really start to implement that in your lives. But that will make a huge difference in your life if you can recognize that difference between, am I reacting to someone? Am I motivated to act in this way? Or am I inspired to respond in a way that's really aligned with my integrity and my authentic way that I want to speak? So, so in terms of purpose and divine timing, so a lot of people feel like they have a hard time identifying that. And that might be a work in progress for you. You might be somewhere along that journey figuring that out right now. And I don't think we're here to just do one thing. I think we all choose a few different things that we're here to do. So, for some of you, and it tends to be the big themes in your life. It tends to be, whether you're a parent or you're a teacher, or, you're creating art to share with people, or you're writing books or talking, or whatever you're doing to share information with the world. Some people are here to connect people. They're real community builders. So these will be some of the big themes in your life. Those tend to be your purpose or your purposes for why you're here. Now within that, you get choices in how you want to do that, how you want to play that out. Because again, if your part of your purpose is here to bring more beauty to the world, then you may be an artist, so you could paint, you could draw. You might be a dancer, you might be a singer, you might play an instrument. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. So it's worth having a look at the major themes in your life. What are the major themes that you found, whether it's within your career, any jobs you've had, whether it's within family dynamics or friend dynamics. What are the major themes within your life, the things that you find yourself doing over and over again? Do you have that caring capacity within you? Or do you have that healing capacity within you? What is it that you're here to do? So again, you may have more than one of these things in terms of your purposes. And actually what you'll find is that a lot of them work together. They'll flow together. So I don't find them to be so very different and separate that people have a hard time bridging them. They usually have things that flow and all work together. So what I want you to do, I'm just going to take you through a really quick exercise where I get you to tune in to that energy of essence and soul. And I just want you to take a moment to tune into the energy of that and just see whatever you get. So you may already have some clarity on your purpose or your purposes, but just see what you get. So just take a moment and take in a couple of nice deep breaths. And I want you to bring yourself into your heart center and set the intention that you're connecting with you as a soul or your essence or that eternal self, that eternal you, whatever word works for you. And just imagine yourself connecting with that energy. It's powerful, it's strong, it's expansive, it's really high vibration. So take a moment to connect with that. And as you connect with that energy, I just want you to allow that information to come through about what you're here to do. So you can just ask yourself or ask your soul, why am I here in this lifetime? And you may get pictures, you may get words, you may just get a knowing. But just take a moment and allow yourself to connect with that and see what comes through. So you may get some information that you already know. They may just be reinforcing what you already know. Or you may get something slightly different, or a different piece of it. So remember this feeling. You can kind of anchor in this feeling of connecting with that energy of soul, and you can go back to it. You can always go back to it. So remember what that feels like, and give yourself permission to do that. So in terms of your purpose or your calling, it really is, for me, about giving yourself permission to live it and to be it. And I think, again, a lot of the times life can distract us from that, or we can allow life to distract us. We can allow friends or family or other things to distract us. Sorry, does anybody have any questions so far? Does anybody have any questions about connecting with soul or soul purpose or anything that's coming up? Can people give me a thumbs up saying that you can hear me? That it's getting through? Oh, okay. So Mags is saying she struggles with divine timing. She struggles with a purpose. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what your struggle is? If it's a lack of clarity, or if there's fear around it, or just anything that you're feeling is getting in the way with that, what the conflict is. So while you're typing that, I'll talk a little bit more. So a lot of people will struggle with their purpose and struggle with their divine timing. And actually the biggest barrier to that is fear. A lot of people are afraid of their purpose. They're afraid of why they're here. But again, it's belief systems getting in the way. It's just fear getting in the way that is distracting people, that's pulling people away from it, and that's delaying it. So it's worth kind of going into your fears around that and identifying what your fears are. So there's a big difference for me between, the big difference in the world and the big difference in living your life. the big conflict is truth and fear. And really, fear is just the lack of truth. Fear is just a misunderstanding or a confusion or a disconnection with truth, or feeling of disconnection with truth. That's all fear is. So whatever fears you have in your life are a lie. The fears in your life are the lies that you're living. The fears in your life are just the things that you need to learn more about. So a lot of people are afraid of themselves because they don't understand themselves. They're afraid of their purpose because they think it's too big or it's impossible or they don't know how to do it, which is nonsense because you came here to do it. So of course you know how to do it. A lot of people, we have fears around loads of things, but it's just because we either haven't experienced it or we haven't experienced it in a way that felt right or felt good or felt aligned to us. So whatever fears you have in your life, it's recognizing that those are the lies that you're telling yourself. So Sanam said that, she says that teaching, learning, sharing, it's what I'm here to do. I didn't know that's what was there for me. So yeah, it's amazing how, and actually what's really cool is that a lot of people are already living their purpose and their divine timing and they don't even know it. Because it comes so naturally and it becomes a part of your life in some way, that you'll already be doing it. So a lot of you are afraid to be leaders, but guess what? You probably already are. A lot of you might be afraid to teach others, but in some capacity you will be teaching others. Some of you may be afraid to share information, but you'll already be doing it in some way, or you'll be in the process of learning what you need in order to step into that. Something that I found that may be useful for you. I know that, so now I'm a teacher, I'm a healer, I'm a writer, I share lots of information in different ways. I know all those are part of my divine timing, part of my purpose. So when I look back through my life, I can see how I've had jobs, even if there were jobs that I fell into that I have no idea how I ended up there, that helped to prepare me for what I'm doing now. My degree helped to prepare me for what I'm doing now. It's not the same stuff, but it helped me to create that foundation. And all the jobs I've had in the past have helped me to learn all the things that I'm teaching now. So a lot of people feel like they're wasting time, they're missing out on things. You're not. You're preparing yourself for the present, future, and for what aligns with your purpose. So again, give yourself a break. Allow yourself to have that process and enjoy that process, because you can't really get it wrong. You can meander a bit, you can delay things a bit, but inevitably your soul's going to keep you doing things that are going to help you to fulfill that purpose for why you're here. So does that all sound good? Does that all make sense? Does that work for everybody? Give me a thumbs up if it does. Cool. So, let's see. Oh, so Mags is saying waiting for the next step, time constraints. Okay. So here's what's cool. Time is an illusion in the bigger sense, but obviously it's a part of our time here, or part of our experience here. So I think it's about changing your relationship with time. That's what I found. It's about changing your relationship with time, how you judge time, and however you feel that time is controlling you or influencing you. Because actually, Einstein talked about how essentially the quote is, the only purpose of time was to make sure that everything didn't happen at once. And actually, time gives you a vehicle or a tool so that you can reflect in your life, so that you can learn and that you can grow. So time is actually one of your biggest allies. It's one of the greatest gifts that we have here. And if you can change your relationship with it and not feel like you have to fight against it, then it will change your experience here too. Because I know so many people feel like they're rushing against the clock, that they're late, that they need to hurry up. But again, that's being motivated by fear to move you into something that you can be doing. So, and if you feel like you're waiting, what I would ask myself is, it would be, what am I waiting for? Or what is it that I can do that can cut that waiting time down? And I know there are times where you feel like you've done everything, you feel like you've exhausted every option, and I know that frustration. I've been there before. But sometimes with timing and with divine timing, it's about other things lining up and other things moving into place. So I know when I moved to the UK, I was struggling to get a job because I didn't have a Scottish qualification, which built up a lot of resentment for me. And I was applying for jobs for over a year without anything. But actually, when I did get the job I got, it was the perfect job for me. It was exactly what I wanted, what I needed. And so I was clear on what I wanted, and so I got what I wanted, but it took a little bit of time for the organization to need me or to be ready for me. So sometimes it's worth, is it me that's delaying this, or what is it that's getting in the way of it, or are there other factors at play that are having to sort themselves out? So you can have a little bit of a conversation with time and see what you can do. So something else I found with kind of soul purpose and things that cause conflicts, and we talked a little bit about conflict and drama in the last two sessions, but I want to talk to you guys a little bit about. Sanam is saying that every word you're describing is what I feel lately. I always feel stuck. I think I should do more than what I'm doing. Relax. Now, I will say, and this is important, there's a big difference between thinking and believing things and actually doing them. There's a big difference between establishing boundaries and actually living them and implementing them. So because we're physical beings, there is a physical element to things. So, if you want to be a millionaire, you can sit in your bedroom all day and wish for it, and it may miraculously happen. But at the very least, you could go out and buy a lottery ticket. Help the universe out, So there is that thing of having some physical action to go along with those things. Now, the clearer your belief systems are, the more you believe it, the more you feel it, all of those things, the easier it's going to be for you to do that. But it's really about stepping in and allowing yourself to do that and recognizing when some action is good for you to take. But tune in and see how you feel about all that. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about warrior energy and how that may be affecting you. So I love warrior energy. I love working with people who have really strong warrior energy. They are fascinating and amazing. They're the coolest people ever. So people who are warriors are people who have a strong sense of loyalty and commitment. They really know how to serve. They know how to serve their community. They know how to see the bigger picture of things. They're incredible because they just really have that strong sense of purpose and knowing of who they are and what they want to do, what they're here to do. The flip side of warriors is that they tend to create a little conflict and drama because they got that war aspect going on. And I know what happens with a lot of healers, with a lot of teachers, with a lot of people who are really passionate about life, is that they have this go, go, go push energy, but that push energy creates conflict and it creates drama. So by actually stepping back a bit and being more in that allowing energy instead of that push energy, you can start to apply those amazing warrior aspects, but without getting caught in the conflict and the drama. So does that make sense? Is that clear for you? Do any of you guys feel like you've got that real strong push thing, but it's just creating problems in your life? It's creating nonsense. It's getting in the way. And actually for those of you who have a really strong sense of fairness and justice and right and wrong, you probably have a real understanding of that warrior stuff. Oh, Matt's saying that sounds like him. Awesome! So really it's just about rechanneling that energy or giving it another job. Because you don't want to stop that. Again, it's powerful energy. It's really amazing stuff. It's just about rechanneling it and finding another way to utilize it. So for those of you who are feeling like you've got that push energy or you feel like you're creating a lot of drama and conflict in your life, if you're ready to resolve that and let that go, then just take a nice deep breath and allow all that to shift and clear, allow that to resolve. And let's give you the highest understanding and perspective of what it is to really understand, loyalty, to understand community, to understand, how to be inspired with that compassion and love and honor, that real sense of honor that warriors have, but again, without that drama. That feels better. Much better. Much better. Cool. So, what I will say is that whatever you can do that helps you to understand yourself more, whatever you can do that helps you really understand the truth about yourself more, not the lies you tell yourself, not the labels that you've taken on, not the roles you've accepted, but who you really are on that soul essence level, whatever you can do to do that is going to be useful and is worthwhile. So, and that comes from experience. That comes from trying new things. That comes from doing new things. I love when people are like, oh, I want to have this change in my life. And I'm like, okay, what have you been doing? And they're like, oh, just sitting at home. They're like, I want my business to grow. Or I want these dynamics to change. I want to have more fun. I'm like, okay, what are you doing to create that? And they're like, nothing. So guess what? Again, because we're in a physical world, it's about doing new things. It's trying new things, because the more you engage with life, the more you get from it, and the more you understand what aligns with you and what doesn't. And the more you step into that essence of who you really are, of what makes your soul sing, of what makes you feel amazing, the more authentic you are, the more honest you are, and the more truthful about who you are, you're able to be. And the more you are authentic and aligned, the more synchronicity you have, the more serendipity you have in your life. And and the benefit of all of this is that it just simplifies your life. It simplifies all the drama and all the crap that you're going through that you're just so tired of dealing with. Because when you really learn who you are and understand it, then you just don't get caught up in that stuff anymore. And for me, that's the benefit. It's that simplification. And I love those moments of synchronicity where things just click into place. Those are the greatest moments in the world. And the more aligned you are, the more you have them. Matt's saying it's difficult abandoning security to follow the new dream. Cool. So I talked a little bit about that on another day, but I'll talk about that again here because I'm sure this is bringing up some of that big stuff. So again, security and safety are beliefs. They're just whatever you believe they are. And being secure and safe will keep you in your comfort zone, and it will keep you from really living your life. So some people want to choose that, and that's their choice. That's where they're at, and that's where they're living. That's where they're operating from, and that's fine for them. But if you want to be doing more, then it's about having that courage and to really step beyond that. Because actually what happens is when you have your comfort zone and you've got that barrier with that, every time you move beyond that, it expands some more. So the things that seemed unsafe and unsecure before now become part of that. Oh, this is okay. I understand this. I know this. So I can do this now. So by expanding those barriers and expanding that comfort zone, you become more comfortable with more. This is why everybody starts small and builds and builds and builds, because we're always expanding that comfort zone. And people do it in gentle ways because, well, it's a nicer way to be. Break yourself. Some people like the flying leap, and sometimes that's great to do. But it's okay also to just take some time to really just start to push those comfort zones a little bit, start to step beyond them and kind of test the waters. So recognizing that, security is just another belief system. It's just more fear. It's just a lack of awareness of what's beyond it. And experience will help you to learn that. And so the more aligned you are, the better you're going to feel, the healthier you're going to be, the lighter you're going to feel, and the more synchronicities and the more awesome moments you're going to have in your life. The more you're going to be connecting with kind of soul, family, tribe, all of those things. So it really is about kind of embracing that permission to be authentic and to be true, which by setting boundaries and saying no when it's appropriate, it gives you that space to do that. It gives you that space to explore, to try new things, and to be courageous in your life. How cool does that sound, right? So does anybody have any questions about that so far? Is that all sounding pretty clear? Is that okay? Is that all sounding good? Hopefully so. So for me, I talked a little bit earlier about that life being essentially this decision between truth and fear. So the more you're aligning with truth, and the more you're allowing yourself to be free, the less fear you're going to have in your life. Because ultimately that freedom is one of those core things that people want in their existence, in their lives. And the more freedom you allow yourself to have, the more you enjoy yourself, the more you enjoy life. So again, that takes courage to have some freedom. But it also enhances your life beyond what it could be now. So for me, it's setting these boundaries and making changes in your life ultimately is what is creating this freedom for you. It's allowing you to have freedom in your life. So do any of you guys have any specific questions about choosing freedom or comfort zone or stepping outside of that or anything like that? Is there anything coming up for you guys that you'd like some more information on or clarity? So now I'm saying when you step out of that comfort zone, you might get really hurt. I don't know where my life is going to lead me then. So that's just the fear speaking. That's the subconscious sabotage. So whenever you do anything new, there's going to be a degree of fear because your subconscious doesn't know what's going to happen. On some level, you don't know what the next step is because you haven't experienced it. So you have no reference for it. So your subconscious wants to keep you safe, so it tells you not to do it. It tells you to be afraid of it so that you stay small and you don't do it. So that's a lie. That's your subconscious just trying to keep you alive. And you'll stay alive, but not much of a life. So anytime you're stepping out of your comfort zone, some fear is going to come up, and that's totally natural. It's about changing your relationship with fear and just seeing it as a sign of, oh, I'm doing something new. I'm doing something different. I can recognize there's fear there, and I don't have to listen to it. And you can actually talk to your subconscious. I've done that sometimes where I'm like, let's calm down a little bit here. Let's take this down a notch, because I recognize I'm just doing something new, and I'm going to apply some courage, and I'm going to face my fear, and I'm going to do it anyway. And do you know what? The greatest moments of your life, the greatest periods of your life are the times where you do that. They're the times where you are courageous and you say, I'm going to do it anyway. So it really is about having faith in that. And again, the more you're connecting in with truth and seeing and knowing the truth, the less fear is going to be there. So whatever fear comes up for you, say, what is this fear telling me? And then you can say, what is the truth actually telling me? And tune into the truth, because the truth will be light. It will feel good. Matt's saying one of his beliefs is that freedom is selfish, maybe parental. Yeah, that's a big one for a lot of people. What I would say with that is, again, it's recognizing that on some level we're all here to serve others, and that by being free ourselves and choosing what makes us happy, and I don't mean happy in a shallow sense. I don't mean that I'm happy because I bought a new pair of boots. Now I will say buying boots makes me happy. But do you know what? It's that sense of fulfillment and alignment and this thing of, those, we talked about the non-negotiable priorities of these things that are so important in your life to have, the things that you really need to have to be, to feel good, to feel light, to feel free. That is not selfish. That's not wrong for you to do, because actually people go on and on about peace in the world and trying to enforce peace in the world. But actually it doesn't work. And because if there is inner conflict within ourselves, that creates outer conflict in the world. So if we allow ourselves to be free, then there's more freedom in the world. If we allow ourselves to be peaceful, there's more peace in the world. So whatever you resolve within yourself and allow yourself to do, that feeds that energy, and it allows more people to have it. And other people can look to you and see what you're doing, and they can learn from that. So it's actually, to be in alignment with truth and freedom and love and compassion and all those things is actually a very compassionate thing to do. It's a very loving thing to do for yourself and for other people. Oh yeah, that perfect. I'm not saying we're hurting ourselves because we're holding ourselves back from what we want. Exactly. Yeah, so that's a great point to make. So, and again, that's a very fear-based way of looking, is that feeling like you have to hold back or you're not allowed to have it. It's big stuff. Let's see, I think there was another. Zelly's saying there's a fear of being seen. I think that's, yeah. So for those of you who have a fear of being seen, so if you know your part of your purpose is to, create art or share information, be a leader or be a teacher, things like that. What I would look at is what are the fears that are getting in the way of that? What are you afraid is going to happen? What are you afraid is going to happen within that? Because, our fears are always, they're so irrational, and most of our fears don't ever come true. They're just fears. They are just fears. And if you can actually, your beliefs and your emotions and fear, it's an important part of your life. It's shaped a lot of our lives in the past. So I don't want to dismiss anything that anybody's experiencing right now. But if you can take your fear less seriously, that might be a good start. It's an illusion. So whatever your fears are around being seen, if it's being judged, if you think people are going to judge you, then look at how you're judging yourself. Because you'll be much harder on yourself than anybody else will. So it's worth actually looking at how you judge yourself and resolving that stuff, because that's all just nonsense too. And then you'll be much more comfortable with being seen and being heard and connecting with others. Makes a big difference. Whatever is going on in dynamics with the world around you is what's going on within you. So allow your relationships and work and those dynamics to show you what's going on a deeper level within you. If you look at the world as being a mirror for yourself, not everything's an exact mirror, and there's other things going on. But if you can use that as a tool to help you recognize what's actually going on within yourself. Cool. Yes, are there any other questions or any other comments? So I think unless there's nothing else, what I'll say is that for me it really is about what boundaries are to me is choices. It's just making choices. And there are millions of choices we can make every day. Everything from what color socks do I want to wear to, how am I going to get to work to what am I going to start that's new. Am I going to go skydiving today? We have infinite number of choices and opportunities every day. So for me, it's really about understanding the choices that we're making and understanding the impact that they make as well. Because the things that we choose on a daily level are what's creating our world around us. So the conversations that you're choosing to have or choosing not to have because you're avoiding conflict or you're avoiding confrontation are creating the drama and creating the stuff that either works or doesn't work for you. So ultimately it comes back to, how do I want to feel? What do I want to do? What is it that I'm here to align with and to do in this lifetime? And even the little decisions have a huge impact on that. The little decisions matter too, because they'll indicate things that are going on on deeper levels as well. So for those of you who are avoiding things in your life, you're avoiding conversations, you're avoiding people, you're avoiding being seen, you're avoiding being heard, all you're doing is delaying it. And you're avoiding living, really. That's ultimately what you're doing. You're choosing not to do some things that might actually if you just went ahead and had the conversations or did whatever you were wanting to do, then that would just take the one less bit of nonsense out of your day. or would change your relationship so that you weren't having to worry about it anymore. So you're actually delaying your own sense of well-being and health and happiness by avoiding. So if you're finding that you're putting off, that's the stuff you should deal with today. Because those are the ways that you're sabotaging yourself and pulling yourself off track. So whatever it is that you're avoiding doing right now, have a look at those things and see what changes you can make, what decisions you can make to help make those things easier for you. Whatever capacity that is, whether that's health, whether that's relationships, whether it's work. See what you can do to change the dynamics, but see if you can get some support as well. That it's always nice to have people to help you or support you with that. So it's worth looking at. Always look at what you're avoiding. That's your next biggest bit of evolution in your journey. Because you're really avoiding yourself when you do that. You're avoiding stuff within you. So it will make a big difference for you when you really face that stuff. Cool. I'm just checking if there's any other questions. I don't see anything just yet. So I'm saying I find reasons not to do that. Yeah, that's just the sabotage. That's just your brain getting in the way. It's so funny because self-sabotage and denial and things like that can be really subtle. They can be really tricky sometimes. And it was great. I had somebody call me out on this last year, I think. Because I was saying, I've got all these projects. I'm really excited about them, but I just don't know where to start, so I don't. And for me, in my head, that was a valid reason not to be getting stuff done. And she was just like, stop it. Just stop it now. You're just getting in your way. That's just a distraction. It's not even real. I just kind of went, yeah, thank you for that. Because it was true. It was just a reason. It was just something, a belief I'd held on to that, oh, I don't know where to start, so I just won't. Well, no, I really just needed to get started. So allow yourself to just start, to just do it. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? That's the fear. Because your fears will always take you to the worst thing that's going to happen. And the worst thing never happens. Not really. Not really. So don't listen to your fears. Listen to truth. Listen to your heart. Listen to what feels good. Get into the habit of really tuning into your body and choosing what feels good, what feels aligned, what feels fun or exciting or nurturing. Listen to that. People pay too much attention to fear. It's a bunch of nonsense. Don't listen to that. Find the goodness and follow that. Absolutely. Cool. So, unless there's another question or anything that comes in the next couple minutes, I'll say thank you very much, guys, for joining me. And I'm gonna start doing these regularly. I think once a week because they're fun. And yeah, I think people are enjoying them, and I'm definitely enjoying them. So I'm just looking at days and times and things like that, and we'll post that. So I'll probably do a regular weekly, or maybe more than one, maybe more than once a week, depending on scheduling and things like that. But for those of you who are in and around Edinburgh or who want to join me, I'm going to do a day-long workshop on kind of boundaries and freedom, and really delve in and do some exercises and help put things in place so that people can really get into the nitty-gritty bit of this stuff, and do some healing. So that's going to be on the 3rd of September. So if anybody wants to join me for that, then please do. We're going to have a great group for that. And I've got some other things going on this year. All that stuff is on the website and on the Facebook page. So please feel free to join me at any other events in person, and I will update you guys with any other kind of Facebook live events that I'm going to be doing. And I think that's it. But thank you guys so much. Just keep taking time to connect in with that energy of soul and essence, and really getting your answers from there. And yeah, let go of that fear stuff. It's not real. So thank you so much. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and hopefully see you soon. Thank you.